Hello, welcome to the Bristol and Bath Lifting Club. I'm Jack.
And I'm Liam. And Mark's gone. He's out there doing cleaning, I believe, isn't he?
He is.
Well,
Poor
we
Mark.
say cleaning, he's actually training. Dossing, I think they call it. Literally getting paid to train. Does that mean he's a professional athlete? He's being paid to train? I don't know. We will have to ask him. I do think that if you get paid to train, then that does make you a professional athlete. I mean, I know he's won medals and stuff like that, but I don't know if he's come with prize money. I'll have to ask him that as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, you have just got finished with a training session with me.
Yes, I have.
What did you do today?
What did I do? I did the seated overhead press.
Seated dumbbell overhead press.
That's the one.
Which does what muscles?
Your shoulder muscles?
It does the front of the shoulders and it does the triceps.
Yeah.
Little test.
Yeah.
What part does the tricep? Is it the bottom part or is it the top part?
Top part?
Very good. Very good. There we go. What else did you do today?
What else did I do? I did the pendulum rail.
Pendulum row.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the barbell.
With the barbell.
Okay, that's good. Now, you did some research on that, didn't you? You literally, like a teacher's pet.
Yeah.
You came up to me and said, I've done some research on the pendulum row.
Yeah.
And I looked at the muscles that it works and stuff like that, just to check I'm doing my job as personal trainer, obviously, that it's not just some bullshit I made up. What I love is the fact that when I asked you what muscles it works, what did you say?
I said... I said the back muscles.
The back muscles, which is very good. That is correct.
Good.
It does do the back.
Yeah.
Most rows are considered back exercises. I was hoping for, like, if you really wanted to be teacher's pet, I was hoping that you would say something a little bit like rear of the delts as well, you know, rear of the shoulders, because people forget that. And there's a very neglected muscle.
Alright.
So what else have you done? You'd like to do your squats today.
Yeah.
And your kettlebell swings.
Yeah. I did that.
It's kettlebell swings you've done before, haven't you? Or have you never done
that
those
was my
before?
first time.
Right, that's lovely. Did you like the kettlebell swings?
I did. They were fun. I
Okay.
enjoyed that.
That's cool.
I feel like I could do more.
You could have done better, I'll give you that. No, you did alright, because it's one of those things that we did it. I normally put kettlebell swings at the end of a training session.
Yeah.
For conditioning, because if you do it first, it's not like a huge strength training exercise. So if you did it first, then you're just going to be exerting a lot of your energy.
Yeah.
But if you do it last, because obviously you have to get into a flow, as you were starting to get into the flow of it, that gets you thinking and gets all of your muscles working, changing over, because we do the thing where we let go of the kettlebell at the top and pick it up with another hand, all that kind of thing. It looks quite cool. I think it's fair to say that it looks easier than it is.
Yeah, definitely.
But you're going to get a lot better at that.
I think once I get over the fear of, letting it go and it not flying, hitting someone.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah.
That's very good. As I've normally said with such things, you only want to do that exercise, letting go, if you're not very confident, if it's in front of someone that you dislike. Because then you literally have the best gym excuse as to why you throw a kettlebell at their head. And I mean, it's not the worst exercise to aim at either, because you've got a little bit of leg drive, you see.
So I could bring my dad.
It's not exactly like shot put. Well, it's interesting that you say dad. What's with the dad? You've got beef with your dad at the moment.
Oh, everybody's got beef with dad.
Daddy issues?
Yeah, nobody likes dad.
What?
I mean,
no one likes their dads in general, or no one likes your dad?
Just my family doesn't like our dad.
Why? Is he some sort of hardened criminal or something?
It's just a massive...
Oh, okay. Tell us how you really feel. I mean, this could quite easily turn into like family counselling session.
Well, they've gone to Catalonia for like 3 weeks, my mum and dad.
Is he going to make it back, or is this?
Well, my mum was like, hopefully he'll fall off a cliff, and I was like, okay, it's pretty dark, but
the problem is that perhaps by the time this comes out,
he could be dead.
If he is dead,
I've incriminated
This
myself.
really does not look good, because you haven't really incriminated yourself, but you've incriminated your mother. Definitely. So I don't know, was she planned also to be ditched, or is Mum okay?
No, she's fine.
She's fine.
Settled. Yeah,
Okay.
we all stand to get a substantial payout from his life insurance.
So you're just doing it for the life insurance payout. You see, I thought when you called him a CUNT that he must be some sort of horrible, evil person that deserves to die. But is it just purely for the money? Is it?
It's a bit of both, really. It's
Okay.
it's a mixed situation.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? I.e., which came first, the nest egg of the money and doing it and bumping him off for the money, or just because you want to strangle his neck like a chicken because you hate him?
Well, he did get a nest egg when his parents died,
Oh.
and then he spent it all.
Right.
So now he's...
That is what a lot of people tend to do with money. They do have a habit of spending it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the smart person...
yeah.
The smart person would probably invest it,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, surely, because I'm not being funny, but you're coming across as perhaps slightly different to how I would, I picture you. You seem like a very nice person, and yet thus far we've talked about basically killing your dad off for what seems like purely financial gain. Okay,
I mean,
so is there any other reasons why perhaps your relationship with your dad may not be great?
He's just not a nice person.
Not a nice person.
He's just not a nice person.
And you're not the only one to say that, presumably.
No.
It's a consensus
It's
kind of thing.
It's a family consensus.
Okay.
It's a family affair.
Right.
Yeah.
What, the murder or the fact that you dislike it?
I mean, we do have, just empty oil drums just waiting to be filled with,
Okay. 2 empty oil drums.
Yeah, he's quite a fat man.
Ah, I see. Right,
Yeah.
okay. That's not why you dislike him either, is it?
No. He said something funny to me the other day. I came back from here and he was like, "Oh, I can't go to the gym." And I was like, "Oh, okay, there's no reason you can't." And he was like, and then he started to tell me why, and I was like, "I didn't ask you and I don't care, but you're telling me anyway." He was like, "I was on the rowing machine and somebody came over to me, I looked at my heartbeat and they were like, 'Stop,' and it was like 140, and I was like, well, when you exercise, your heart rate increases.
It should do if
and
you're doing it
should
properly.
do, and then it comes back down. And I'm like, and that's your reason for not going?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah. And I was like, that sounds like a...
There's one exercise. There's one machine here at this gym that we've got, which actually your heart rate doesn't go up, and that's called the vending machine. Okay. That is quite popular amongst, as you've said, fat people.
Yeah.
So your dad might like that one.
I think he comes here. I think he would come just for that.
Possibly. I mean, it's
Possibly.
very overpriced. It's like £1.50 for a chocolate bar. You know, it's crazy.
He's got money coming out of his ears, so...
Well, I mean, you will when he's dead, because
Well,
of life
yeah.
insurance, you know.
I'll
Okay.
roll up in my Mercedes,
Well, there we go. That's a man with no taste in cars. Mercedes. I mean, it could be worse. You could have said a BMW. Then we'd have known you're a drug dealer or something.
Just black tinted out windows.
Yeah, exactly. X5 or something.
X5.
Yeah. It's always a black tinted out window X5, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the wife has some sort of convertible BMW
In pink.
in pink. Hot pink.
Hot pink. And it's a Bentley. It's always a Bentley.
Oh,
It's a...
how common. New money.
New money. Not new money. I don't come from new money. I come from old money.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, of course.
Dark secrets. Dark secrets.
Right. Okay. So we'll sway back to gym-related things, okay? Because this is a kind of like a lifting club fitness podcast.
Yeah.
And I'll try and prize out of you, just the best way to kill off your elderly relatives and that, which you would know all about given your profession.
Yeah.
Which I won't say what your profession is at the moment.
Okay.
But it does involve, death and, old people dying and such like that. So,
I mean, I don't work in a morgue.
you don't work in a morgue, but maybe a professional assassin or something like that. They
Wow.
they say cleaner, but cleaners are people that just dispose of people, aren't they? Technically, like a special type of assassin. But
Yeah.
anyway, so what got you into coming to this gym specifically? Was it just the fact that it's local, or what?
Excuse me.
And you
Sorry.
can't say what the gym is because we can get in big trouble if anyone knew that we
Yeah.
talked about the gym and that we're doing this podcast in the gym.
I know.
So don't give the name of the place where we are. But is it location? Is it
was,
reviews?
yeah.
It certainly ain't reviews, is it? I mean, it might be my reviews, maybe.
It might have been. I don't know.
I don't know.
It was just location.
Okay.
You know, it had been closed for ages because it was renovated, and
Yeah.
I thought, I was like, I got to a certain point, I was like, I'm really, really unfit.
Yeah.
And I don't exercise, and I just feel really bad about myself. So I was like, I should probably do something about that. And my doctor was like, you know what? I can only throw so many pills at you before it's just like,
So
why
it's for
bother?
health reasons then.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was a kind of doctor recommended.
Yeah, they've been saying it for
Ah.
years and years and years, and I was
This
like,
is the sort of thing you're supposed to come out at like the initial consultation with, instead of like it's normally like I just want to train to look better naked is normally what most people come out with.
no, nobody wants to see this naked.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there are people with unusual fetishes out there.
I will take that as the compliment I know it was meant to be.
I mean, if you're into the money, maybe don't bother bumping Dad off. You should just start an OnlyFans. Have you heard of OnlyFans?
Who hasn't heard of OnlyFans?
Well, I don't know. There's a couple of old ladies here which I had to explain in intricate detail exactly what it is and how. No, it's not like Facebook, Grandma.
I would love
But you
to
can
listen
put
to.
you can put pictures and videos on it.
Do you think they have OnlyFans? The grannies?
I think there are at least one or two grannies that are on OnlyFans, and I bet they really clean up in terms of the money. Because I mean, it's one of those things. Grab a granny is a popular search description.
I mean,
I think.
that vaginal rejuvenation's not going to pay for itself, is it?
No, I know. I can only imagine what they spend on Vaseline. But there we go. Anyway,
Not Vaseline.
not Vaseline. So, given that you are in fact a registered nurse,
Yeah.
can I ask some nurse-related questions?
Yeah.
The first one would be, if you did have a grandma, say Ethel,
Yeah.
her Ethel and Eileen have started up an OnlyFans, right? And they're thinking that they might do a little bit of chick on chick, content.
Okay.
Would it be appropriate to put Vaseline up the hooch or not?
I mean, they did back in the day.
They did back in the day, but at the same time, super glue was originally kind of developed to help glue fingers and stuff back together and wounds and stuff like that. But I wouldn't
Yeah.
recommend putting the modern day formula that we probably have changed it to now. I mean, Coca-Cola used to have actual cocaine in it, didn't it, at one point?
Yeah. Yeah.
So modern
That's okay.
Vaseline, is that appropriate for putting up there?
It's not really changed much. It's still just petroleum jelly.
Okay. 'Cause
But
this is the sort of thing that people, I think, want to know.
They
and
wanna
it'll
know.
save some Googling. And to be fair, Ethel and Eileen, they're of the generation where they're not really that computer savvy.
no.
You know.
I mean, if you can't use Vaseline, olive oil works.
Olive oil works. I think that's what the ancient Greeks used to use, didn't they?
Yeah.
They used to use olive oil to lather themselves up when
I mean-
doing wrestling, and they also used to use it as a penetration lubricant.
They just lathered themselves up and just went at it all
I
night.
mean, they were fucking all day long.
All day. I'm surprised they
And
weren't
at
chafed.
nighttime. Yeah, I mean, tell me about it. I'm surprised they didn't run out of olive trees.
I can't imagine the chafing the next day.
So, has any of your friends, sorry, changing the subject, but not really that much, have any of your friends asked you, given that you're a nurse, any kind of embarrassing questions or anything like that? Because there's that TV show in the UK called Embarrassing Bodies, where people,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, I don't know, I'm presuming they get paid, but for some reason, if they have an
don't
embarrassing
know.
condition, they think the best thing to do would be to get naked on camera in front of,
I know.
the whole of the UK.
It's
I mean, I know it's really difficult to get an appointment to see your GP, but
Yeah.
I mean, is it just the fact that it's a 3-year waiting list to see a doctor that they're thinking, fuck it, I'll just get Christian Jessen to diagnose me live on television?
I don't know. I watched an episode once. I think he went to a festival.
Yeah.
What is it? I don't know.
They were riddled.
And he was riddled. He was like, yeah. And like this man had been like washing his hair and or like going for the toilet and
Oh,
not
had
washing
poo
his
in his
hands.
hair.
And he had poo in his hair. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
I watched that episode.
it's like what? That's gross.
I could tell you some stories about Dr. Christian Jessen, but I can't do it on the regular edition. I will have to tell you on the extended edition because I don't want to get sued.
Oh,
So I will tell you. You have to remind me.
some juicy gossip.
There is some juicy gossip that involves twinks.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
There we go.
But to answer your question, has anybody asked me any specific questions about, the hoo-has and the ding-dongs?
Yeah, anything like that, or anything embarrassing? Do you literally have the Vaseline question asked of you a lot? I should imagine it's more like you're on a night out and someone says, "Look at this rash, is it cancer?" or something like that. I know a lot of people that I've met that work in the medical profession seem to be pissed off with the amount of family members that they get come to them with some, slight rash or something like that, and they think it's cancerous.
Not really. I can't say that I have. I don't know. I think I just have that kind of face that says, "Don't approach me. Don't talk to me."
I don't think that's necessarily true. I always see you smiling. You always seem to be quite happy. I mean, you've got a slight glint to your eye that makes me suspicious as to why you're smiling. But I'll give you that. But I don't think that you're an unapproachable person.
Oh, thank you. I'll take that. But no, I don't really get asked many odd questions. Although in my second year at uni, I lived with 3 girls, and I was quite close with one of the girls. And she would just come into my room and she's like, "Can you look at my vagina?" But I was like, "Okay."
Okay.
What do you want me to look at?
Is
She's
this
like,
multiple times a week, or has she just got a thing for that?
She would just randomly come in and be
voyeurism?
like, "Does my vagina look okay?" And I'm like, "It looks like a vagina to me. It's the only one I've ever seen, so."
Oh, okay, right.
I don't know. I don't have much to compare it to.
I mean, it looks like it's in the right place, presumably.
Yeah. I think she had a spot on it once. She was like, "Is it gonorrhea?" And I was like, I have no idea. I have no idea. I've never had gonorrhea.
So, when you train to become a nurse, do you have to take like a course or something like that in STDs and STIs and all that sort of thing? Or is it just like not really covered?
So you don't. It's an optional module you can do in your second year.
Do you get optional modules like basically kind of like when we were at school, we got to stay behind after school if we wanted to learn Japanese? Or is it a case of it's a bit like options, so you have to do a certain amount of these modules, but you can pick the ones you want to do?
Yeah, you had to pick an optional module.
Right.
It wasn't a case of you couldn't just pick one, because if you didn't pick one, you'd have like a whole gap of time where you were doing nothing, where you weren't on placement, or you went on placement and you weren't at uni, so you had to pick one. So I picked the sexual health one.
Oh, you did pick sexual health?
Obviously, yeah.
Oh.
And I went to the first seminar and didn't go to any of the other lectures.
Was that just because it was graphic or boring or
No,
practical?
I got all the information I needed, and I wrote a 1,500 word essay on chemsex in the gay community.
What is chemsex?
And I made my mum read it as well.
Isn't your mum a nurse as well?
Yeah.
Is she a nurse? Yeah, so at least it would be kind of, she could understand the science.
I had to make my 60-plus-year-old mother read about gay men taking poppers and having group sex.
Is using chemicals?
Chemicals.
So drugs and stuff?
Like ketamine, coke.
Right. All at
MDMA,
the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it can go up your nose, in your mouth, in your vein.
Right.
Groups of men are doing it. And
Have you ever done it?
Absolutely not.
You see, at that point, I thought you were about to say absolutely yes. No. But there we go. Would you admit to it if you did?
No.
Right, okay. So basically, you haven't really answered the question then.
No, disclaimer, I have never participated in chemsex. If anybody from the NMC is listening, hello.
And that's something that we should put in Patreon then. More chemsex related things in the Patreon.
Yes.
Okay. This is devolving very quickly, this podcast. But at the same time, I find it all rather fascinating. And I'm sure Harry, when he's walking his dog listening, he's also going to find chemsex fascinating. Harry, you can Google chemsex. I don't think it's your cup of tea, mate, but...
Who's Harry?
Harry's someone that trains here. Who's Harry? I'll introduce you to him. He normally comes in around about 12, 1 o'clock-ish.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're ever training in our gym around about 12, 1 o'clock,
okay,
just shout Harry and then see who looks round.
Just scream Harry.
Yeah. But anyway. Yeah, so you decided to take the sex...
The path less travelled.
The path less travelled, okay. to help people with highly travelled paths, presumably, that are somewhat inflamed and itching.
Yeah.
So what is currently then, because we could put some really important information out there, like public service announcement.
Yeah.
What is currently like the most, I was going to say popular, I shouldn't really put it like that, the most kind of
Prevalent?
contagious, prevalent STD, STI
So
around?
rates of gonorrhea and syphilis have skyrocketed recently amongst younger people.
Why is this though? Do we know why? Obviously the
Because,
sex stuff, but
well, because they are just pounding all night long.
Right.
They're going out to the clubs
but
and the
why
bars.
gonorrhea and that?
It's just opportunistic, innit?
Okay.
And people don't get tested, and
Right.
they don't wear condoms, and they're having sex with multiple people in one night, and there are various things going in various holes in various alleyways, not very sanitary, not
Okay.
yeah.
So you always advocate using condoms and such,
And just, general good hygiene.
and general good hygiene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get yourself checked out.
Yeah, at
No.
least every 3 to 6 months.
I'm a bit older than you, but when I was younger,
A little
okay,
bit, just a little bit.
I am a bit,
Mm.
maybe a decade older than you, right? But thanks for that. I can edit that
What-
bit out.
When were you born?
I'm not telling you what year I was born. We can
It's
leave
out
that
there
for
on
the
the board.
Patreon.
I know when you were born.
So, when I was younger, and when I was, fucking, basically random people. So, at that point, we actually used to have this, you got given this card at college,
A
and you
C
could
card.
go to, I don't know what it was called, but it was
Okay.
orange, I remember that.
Okay.
And it came with a little sperm key ring.
Yeah.
And then you go to the sexual health center by the Pip and J Church, which I believe they've closed down now. Not
Yeah.
the church, but the sexual health center, I think's moved. And you could go in and get free tests and
Yeah.
free condoms and stuff like that. So you were supposed to be, going in and checking and stuff like that. Now I had a best friend who was a massive, massive slut.
Right.
And she used to go there once a month. But
Right.
she'd meet with many, many, many men, many different men within the month. In fact, it was 3 different men per day, which we used to joke about breakfast, lunch, and tea. Which, Chloe, if you're listening, love you, girl. But she was very, very, very much into the sex and that kind of thing. And yeah, I haven't slept with a huge amount of people. She's been through a fair amount of people, and she loved mostly every second of it. Some of them did only last for a number of seconds, I was told. But we used to go to that sexual health center, and then when you go to the dentist and they give you a lollipop, every time you'd go there, you'd have like a key ring or a pen or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is surprising, actually, that I really, really, really want the keyring and the pen. I'm one of those people that love blagging free stuff at a festival or whatever.
Okay.
So for me, it was all about the free pens and that. I mean, you get tested and stuff like that, but that's useful. But is that sort of thing still available? Because I remember it only being available to people up to the age of 25.
Yeah.
Back to the regular edition of the podcast,
Yeah.
because Mark just came in the office and interrupted us, so we had to take a little break there.
Yeah.
But we'll put all of the extra stuff in the extended edition of the Patreon,
Yeah.
where Mark starts talking about chem sex and that. But yeah,
what were we talking about?
so we should
condom
probably at
scheme.
some point go back to talking about the gym.
Yeah.
Because it would make sense given this health and fitness kind of
Yeah.
podcast. So you've been training for a little bit of time now, a couple of months. So since before you started training, because I don't think you did anything like major weightlifting particularly before you started training here. So ideas about weight training, gym stuff, all that kind of thing before you started training versus now, anything that you've kind of changed your opinions about, anything that you thought, oh, that's easier or more complicated or more exciting or
Yeah, like before I started doing weights and stuff, it was always to me it was always very much like a bro
kind of macho
thing,
bicep
and,
curls in the mirror type thing.
Yeah, and it was always like these really big men giving off like this really macho kind of like aggressive energy, and that just really put me off.
Right.
And like I went to uni with a man, who was really big into the gym, and he was nice, but again, it was just kind of that really like macho energy just put me off a little bit, so that I would just come in and do like cardio and then run away.
See,
but then
you say that a lot. That is what so many particularly female clients, that's what comes up a lot, is that line that designates, you know, oh, I don't cross that line because that's where the free weight area is, that's where all the scary men with the dumbbells and barbells and that are. It's a shame really that people think that, but in this day and age, even with all of like YouTube videos and fitness and stuff like that, I know the fitness industry is pretty fucking shit.
Yeah.
But you know, it's quite sad that people feel that way, but you don't feel that way now, presumably.
No, not so much. I mean, I have quite bad social anxiety anyway, so when I come into the gym and it's really, really busy, I'm always a bit on edge, but once I've been here a little bit, it all sort of starts to subside. And that was another thing as well, is like when you're not really sure of what you're doing and you're already anxious, you just don't do it, and then you're afraid that you're going to injure yourself because you hear about all these things like snapped tendons and like knees, and I was like, I don't want to break my knee. I've got to lift patients, and you know, be able to walk. Can't move somebody if I'm on 2 crutches.
No, I mean they have some fancier hospitals and that have like assisted handling apparatus, but we're not at the stage where the robots are replacing the manual handling yet, are they?
No.
Maybe in another 50 years, who knows?
Still very much 2 people either side on a slide sheet, just slide you up the bed.
Well, that's cool. Is there anyone here that you dislike or annoys you? Interesting.
Not that I've met.
Not that you've met. Oh. That's good, because that means that ultimately that when you come here that you don't have any gym enemies, Geminis. And you know, presumably your training is fairly nice environment and that kind of thing. Yeah. That's good.
I've not met anybody who's been unpleasant or has been like mean.
Yeah, because you are weight training and stuff like that, so you are on that side of the gym which people do say is the intimidating side, but you've not gotten into any altercations or anything like that, and you've not felt crazily uncomfortable despite saying, you know, that you've had issues with anxiety and stuff like that before.
No. Now that I've started doing it, that sort of anxiety isn't really there so much anymore, and I sort of know as well that the more you put it off, the worse that perceived fear gets, if that makes any sense. So sometimes you just have to think, I don't really want to go, but I'm going to go, and even if I go for 5 minutes, and then that 5 minutes turns into half an hour.
It often does, though. That's the most difficult bit for a lot of people, is just getting through the door. Yeah. And a lot of PTs will say, you know, just if you don't feel like training or you feel too tired or whatever, still go to the gym, just do one exercise for one set. Yeah. Because by the time you do that, the chances are you'll carry on for a little bit more. Yeah. And it does work, but you've still got to get here. Yeah. You know? So in terms of anxiety and stuff like that then, so when did the word anxiety become a label for you? When did you start using it? When did you start to feel like, oh, actually, I might not be like all of the other boys and girls and such?
I mean, probably all my life.
So you would say that you've always had anxiety?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm autistic, so I think that just sort of comes part and parcel with that. Right. Because when you grow up differently and you see the world differently, and how you interact with the world is different. And then I think, you know, school was always challenging, because, you know, even though I went to school in like the 2000s, whatever, things just, the support was not there, and it still isn't really. So that was always just a bit hard. And then I suppose just as I got older and became like an older teenager and young adult, and I had to start doing things by myself, I suppose the anxiety have just got to me and got worse. And yeah.
So how do people actually with anxiety cope with anxiety? So are you told to do, is there something that, you know, things like techniques and stuff people can use? Or is it just you basically just have to suck it up and get on with it?
We drink heavily.
So alcohol, basically.
that's it for the regular edition of the Bristol and Bath Lifting Club. If you want to listen to more, then you need to head over to Patreon.
Yeah, get over to Patreon. Pay us some money, and then you can learn the ins and outs of multiple things.
Yeah.
Lifting, chemsex, all of it. Good stuff.